Hey everybody, Patricia Young with Follow My Heels Home, brokered by Real Brokerage. Welcome to another edition of Let's Get Real. I am so very excited today. I'm talking to my friend and a phenomenal interior designer, Kristi Hopper. And what's so awesome about Kristi is not only is she a designer, but she's here locally in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'm excited to get her on. We did some work in the past and I'm looking forward to working together again. But I thought it was so important, especially now with how much has changed after COVID, to kind of bring her on, introduce her and basically just talk about what is going on with interior design, what's gone on in the last year, and what are some great trends and what are people seeing. So when I thought about this, there was nobody better than to bring Kristi on. So she's going to pop on here in a second. Hold on. There she is.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us all about you. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. It's so bad. We don't live that far from each other.
I know. We've known each other a really long time.
A really long time. But time flies. I know, right? And we don't look a day older.
No,
at all.
You're just getting better.
Exactly. I know. I don't even look at age anymore. It's like when I was excited to turn 50. Once I turned 50, I'm like, okay, we just go on.
It's just the way it is. Just
exactly. So I love doing this show because basically I talk to entrepreneurs like yourself across the United States, and I want to find out what makes you successful and what keeps you at the top of your game. Because like real estate, interior design, I mean, you really have to have a good reputation and know what you're doing and be in it for a very long time for people, to come in and have you redesign their homes. And I know just from your Instagram, which Gina will put up, you do some beautiful work. So tell us all about you and how you got started.
Well, I worked in a corporate job for a long time, for 10 years. I worked for a Fortune 100 company, and I was laid off, and they did a whole restructure, laid off, just about everybody. And I was home with a baby. Well, actually, I started interviewing for jobs when I was pregnant, because when they laid me off, I was pregnant with my second child. And nobody, it was 21 years ago. Nobody wanted to hire a pregnant person. Sorry. Today you'd probably get hired, but not then.
Right.
And so I was sitting at home, volunteering a lot and thinking, I can't take this. For me personally, it didn't make me happy. So I started my business. I started slow because my husband traveled and I had 2 little kids at home, and I didn't really mean to have a business. I just kind of, I'll just make a little money and enjoy this. Well, somehow, I started making, a lot more inroads into the design industry. And by that, I mean, I started, joining things like ASID and art and IDS, and really keeping myself up to speed on what's the latest and greatest and what the trends are, and immersing myself in the design industry. And I think, there are a lot of people that have a good eye that do a fine job, and then there are those who, it's about the education. Like real estate, you have to continue to educate yourself. And I think that kind of sets people on different paths. So for me, that's how I got started. I was just, I have a degree in merchandising from the University of Texas. I have a background in business, and it's just something I really wanted to pursue. So I did.
Well, and you're good at it. So you definitely found that talent. And, people always ask all the time, like, what's the difference between an interior decorator, an interior designer? What's the difference between a stager? Because, like real estate, sometimes people don't understand, the differences. So
there's a whole group of stagers. They have their own association. It's a serious business. And, I've seen, if you have a designer and you go to sell your house, it's likely that you don't need a stager. It's likely. But if you've never touched it and you really want to get top dollar, you need a stager. And I can stage, but it's not my thing. I don't have a warehouse full of furniture. I'm not part of that association. Those guys are trained and they do a great job. I can come in and tell you, paint it, make it neutral. I can do all that, but they have this stuff to help you really get it staged. So that's a stager. They help you sell the property. And, I've thought about having an arm like that, and we don't need it right now in Texas very much. I mean, you can always get more for your house if you make it look better, right?
Oh, exactly.
With the short inventory, people are getting away with things they used to not be able to get away with. Like, I think real estate agents do magic with their photography and showing the best that they can for a home. And you can tell a good real estate agent and a good designer if you have a good photographer, because if you have professional photos and they're done right, it changes the game. It changes the way everything looks. It changes the way things are presented for, everything's on social media. It has to be photographed well, right? So that's a stager. And then when it comes to a decorator versus a designer, it's about qualifications and it's about continuing education. And that's the difference, because there are a lot of decorators that, do a fine job. They can make a room look really pretty. But my goal is to change the way you live. It's about making sure that things are up to code and having the best contractors. And, there's a lot that goes into design before you get to the pretty stuff. And that's the part that is the difference between a designer and a decorator.
How do you what's your process? Because obviously you touched on it. I mean, and like I said, this is a good partnership, because if somebody, watching wants to buy a house, and somebody, a lot of people want to go in and make a house their own. They don't care if it has blue walls or pink walls, or it doesn't have granite, or, needs a couple walls knocked down. Some people can see it, but then want to hire somebody like you, who's the interior designer, to come in. So the partnership in this is great. So when you start, what is your process? What does that look like?
Well, the first thing I do is I go and I meet with people, and there's a fee for that. I charge an initial consultation. And that is a way to separate people that are serious from not serious. And it's my time. I get paid for my time. So we meet, we talk about what they want, what they don't want. And, it helps us decide if we're a good fit too. And it also helps me look at what's going on, who's the decision maker in the home. The husband's the decision maker. A lot of times the wife is. Very rarely is there two people that, agree. Usually one person that's the decision maker. So this is what I say my process is. The first thing I have to do is sell myself. Okay. First thing is I'm a salesperson. Second thing is I'm a psychologist. I have to figure things out, like what really makes these people tick, what colors do they hate, who's the decision maker. These are important things, because you have to know what you're getting into to be successful at the design, right? So that's number 2 is psychologist. Number 3 is a project manager, meaning I've got to get people to give me quotes. And, I have people that have been with me for years. One of my contractors has been with me for the whole 21 years.
Oh, wow.
And I have another person that's been with me for 15, another for 5. So these people are people that are tried and true. We're not going to screw you over. These guys are not going to not show up. They're not going to leave something with a scratch on the floor. We're going to take care of you, right? So, and that's a hard thing to cultivate over time. That's something I think that kind of sets some designers apart, when you have those good relationships. So there's that. And then, I'm a salesperson, a psychologist, a project manager, and then we get to the pretty stuff. And the pretty stuff is really important, because I have to know where to get, especially now. I have to know things in stock. Who can give me a sofa in less than 20 weeks? Because there's no foam in the world, you guys. There's no foam. So we had the problem with COVID, and then during Armageddon in Texas, one of the foam factories burned down in Texas. So that was feeding us some. It's gone. It burned to the ground. So foam is a real issue, and you can't make furniture without foam. The price of wood has gone up 500%. That means the price of sofas have gone up. There's not enough people working. They're getting unemployment. They've been sick with COVID. You can't Zoom call a sofa. And I'm just using a sofa as an example. That is the ripple effect of everything we do. So there we go with the project management part, because I'm looking for people, partners in the furniture industry, partners in everything I do, paint, furniture, even down to a lamp. I want to make sure I can get something shipped to me, and I want to make sure it's going to be something affordable for your budget and something that fits your style. And your style is not my style. My job is to make your dreams come true and to elevate your style. Not to, if somebody came into your house and went, oh, to Kristi Hopper, this looks like Kristi Hopper, I'd be offended, because I don't live there, right? So for me, there are certain things I do, right? You can't help it. But like the house I just finished, I've never done anything like it. And it made me so happy, because it elevated their style. That's my job.
Well, I think you saying that, I think that's a great thing because, there have been people like on HGTV, like people will watch and they go, oh, you know what style that is, or everything always looks the same. It's to me, if you wanted to get a designer, I would want somebody to take my idea and help me, like you said, elevate it. Because I don't want, if I'm going to hire somebody, or at least for me, I would want it to look different, not look like everybody else. Or you turn on HGTV and like, oh, look, yeah, I got that kind of wall. To me, that's how I look at it. I want somebody to help my style and make that dream where you walk in. It's almost like that storytelling. And it's so funny what you say, because even like in real estate, you got to have those relationships. You have to go in, you have to, first of all, are we going to be a good fit? If I go on an appointment, I'll be like, I want to meet you face to face. We go over everything. And one of the things I say is, you may not want to work with me. I may not want to work with you. And people would just look at me and go, really? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, this is a very personal relationship. And especially with what you're doing. I mean, I'm helping them find the home, but you're in their house, sitting down, making something to their dream, to something that they want. So that's even more, I mean, it's all personal and it's very emotional.
It's very emotional and very personal. And
it is.
I never counted on when I got into this is that these people become my friends. And,
Right.
my very best friends, I started knowing them through doing their homes, because I mean,
Right.
I know everything about everybody in the house, and I have to. And it's very personal, and it's something that I hold in my heart. It's very private. It's kind of like an attorney. It stays here, and everyone in my office, this stays here. What these people like or don't like has nothing. We don't talk about that to other people. And it's the same like you with money. You don't talk about money.
No.
So it's very personal. It's very private. It's very emotional. And, sometimes dealing with people's emotions is really hard. And right now, everybody's emotional because, when you plan a remodel, that's one thing. When your ceiling caves in because there's water rushing down because
that's completely different.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible.
You had to move out of your house. I mean, I've got 5 or 6 of those going right now, and they're no fun. It's fun when it's finished, but they're emotional. We're dealing with insurance companies. It's really hard. It's hard. And the insurance companies in the beginning were being terrible, and they seem to have turned a corner, and they've been mostly really fair, and which is good because everybody's insurance rates are going to go up in the state of Texas. I think.
Of course.
How can they not? I mean, we had a statewide, problem. So
exactly.
Catastrophe, actually. But anyway, that's been very emotional, and it's been very, where we already had a problem with COVID. Now the supply chain is just, my rep at Ferguson said, okay, we were told Texas can't have everything because we were eating up the supplies for the whole country for appliances and plumbing and so we've been rationed. So you have to really plan out your remodel, and you have to hire people that know what they're doing because things are not readily available. There's not.
No. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to Let's Get Real. Today I'm talking to Kristi Hopper. She is awesome interior designer. I've known her for a very long time, and Gina will put up her information, but I'll tell you her Instagram page, like she said, when she designs, it's like walking in and telling a story. So these are not Pinterest. This is actually work that she does. And I mean, it's gorgeous. That's what's different about it. And I like that, and to your testament, you talking about your contractor being there, like since the beginning, and somebody else 15 years, that shows that she's somebody good to work with. Obviously cares about her clients, cares about the people that works, because that right there, find the quality people that you can rely on and trust, that's huge. And again, especially with something like this, especially with real estate, you got to be able to trust from the realtor to the assistant, to the transaction coordinator, to the lender. You got to have that personal relationship. And in a design, that person coming into your house has to feel like you know them and that you're listening to them. And again, just like any industry, communication is extremely, extremely helpful.
Yeah.
What difference?
That's why we have contracts. That's why we have what to expect sheets.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we try to talk through everything beforehand,
And you have to do that. I think, and you have to set an expectation.
Yeah, you have to let people know this is how this works. It's like buying a house. If you've never bought a house before, you don't know that what all you have to do, that's what you have to teach them, and your lending people have to teach. Everybody has to learn, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So how have you seen, like, since COVID, like, what's the difference between, COVID started, like March is when everything started of last year. So like, how was business up until then? And then like, what was the difference in business? Like once this hit, what happened? What did it look like for you?
Well, in the beginning, I thought one of my assistant, I had a junior designer working for me, and she had to quit because she didn't have childcare, and
Mm,
kids couldn't go to school. There was no daycare. We tried to have her work from home, and it just didn't. Too much happens in a day, and I couldn't communicate that. Somebody needed to be here. So I thought, well, what the hell am I going to do? So I tried to get PPP and spent, a few days doing that, and then the phone started ringing off the wall. I had one of my very biggest clients ever last year. They moved from it had nothing to do with COVID. She moved from a condo to a big house and just said, I want it done in 6 weeks. And we did that. And
wow.
me by myself with, I had a bookkeeper at the time. Nobody was really here to help me. Worked out great, but it was a lot. And then my friend Michael Bauer got furloughed from Dallas Market Center, so he came to help me.
Oh, that's good.
Because he's one of my besties, and we had a ball. And he helped me a lot. And then I hired another person, a junior designer, and she got COVID. Well, in the beginning, people freaked out. They were like, "You can't come to my house. You've been exposed to COVID." We didn't know. We didn't know that we weren't all gonna get it or die, or it just was here. Right. So she didn't last very long. It was just really trying, right? And then the phone started ringing, and we decided to go ahead and work in Dallas County and in Denton County. And in Denton County didn't have the same order that Dallas County did.
Right.
And we put a sign in the yard in Dallas County, and they stopped by and said, you can't have the sign in the yard, but they didn't make us stop. So we kept going. And then I probably had one of the better years I've ever had last year, because people have been home and they were sick of their house and things didn't work. You had like at one point in my house, my son graduated from college and he couldn't move out. He couldn't get toilet paper, right? So he lived here and started his job. My daughter lived here. She came home from college. My husband was working out of the house, and it was insane, but we had zones, right? We had zones where everybody needed zones. And so we were closing in doors, and then what happened is people were like, I really hate this house. I really hate this room, and so we just started booking people. And then so we were nice and busy and blessed with being busy. And then the snow happened, and it went on turbo. My goal has been to help my clients, my neighbors, my friends first. And then if I don't know you, you kind of went to the bottom of the list. Only not to be mean, you're still on the list. But, like I have one client that, her dad died of COVID and she had her house flooded. And, the list went on and on. I'm like, okay, you go to the top of the list. She's been for 20 years. It's like, okay, you go to the top of the list, period. And so we were trying to help our community and the people that can't live in their house. I mean, 4 feet down is gone. So it's been insane. It's like the Wild West. Get stuff. There aren't enough. The people that came in and did remediation, a lot of them did an amazing job. So others gouged. They gouged, and from other states, and they gouged. And it's just been a very eye-opening experience of how people work. And but let me just say this. Because we had a national crisis or a statewide crisis, we didn't raise our prices. We raised prices on things that went up. Right. We didn't gouge people. That's not what Texans do. That's not how we treat each other. Right. So, we're just trudging along and trying to do our job and, help people out. And I feel like we're succeeding in that. And, a lot of people, we've had a couple that are able to move back in that were smaller, and others, they're still in the process. So it's been a crazy, those are the things I've seen, but mostly the outages of things that you can't get. Prices have gone up. The price of cabinets. I had one job and we got ready to start. She gave us a deposit, 3 months before we started, and the price of her cabinets went up $30,000.
That's a hard conversation, but it's not you. I mean,
It's not me,
great.
but you know what I did? I found somebody else to do the cabinets.
Yeah. Well, and that's, again, that's something that you do. Like you said, you didn't raise your prices. I mean, everybody has to make a living, but you didn't raise your prices, and you tried to find the vendors that would work with you, that would keep the
We're
price.
trying to be fair,
Yeah.
right? We're trying to be fair.
Yeah.
So we're not sleeping much, but we're trying to be fair.
Well, I found that with COVID too. When it hit in March, I was in North Carolina finishing my license for Charlotte. And I remember flying home and being terrified because you didn't know. What if you get this? Is like, is it like the plague? Are we going to die? You're going to break out? What happens? And I remember coming home, and I remember I got home on Friday. My husband's anniversary, and I was on Saturday, and Wednesday the shutdown started. And then we were in. And I was like, okay, how are we going to? Okay, so for the first couple of weeks, you're okay, a new way of doing business, and the first thing, like you said, I mean, it was reaching out to clients. What do you need help with? What can I help you? Because I have some elderly clients, and they weren't going to go out to the store. I go, let me shop for you. What do you, I know.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, how can I help you? I mean, I wanted to do that because, 85 to 90% of my business is referral from past client or from agent to agent. So I want to keep, that's just me. So I went out and I wanted to help them. And then, March was a little bit slow, but then mid-April, people are like, well, we have to move. We have to live. And like you said, people were realizing they didn't like their houses. I can't fit. We're going to be working from home for a long time. Our business just told us this. We can expect 2 years. We can't live like this. We're going to kill each other. So and then we got busy. And then it was just, you wore gloves, you wore a mask, you did this, and you were just protected. But it was busy, but it's been interesting. So now when you say with the shortage, so if somebody comes to you now and you do a consult, you have to set the expectation, I guess. Hey, you're not going to get your couch for 19 weeks. Don't get rid of your old furniture. Are people good with that, or do they?
No, nobody really loves it. The thing is everybody's lived through this crisis.
Right.
Everybody's been affected by it.
Right.
Most people are really, really understanding. I went to a new client last week, and they're not getting their new refrigerators, which had nothing to do with me. They had a contractor with me. And they called me because they needed everything to be, we want curtains and we want furniture. And they're not getting their sub-zeros in until I think they said September. So already level set. They already knew the drill. Right. And they were like, oh, we understand. So they have things to sit on. And most people have been pretty kind about it.
That's good.
Like, look, I can find people. And the other thing that's happened is, like, in April of this year, I went and ordered furniture, and we were 8 weeks out. Well, we still don't have it. And
sorry,
now we don't know when we're going to get it. We got one of the sofas that we're getting tomorrow. The other sofa and 2 chairs, we don't even have an ETA, and it's about the foam. So the other one must have made it into the queue faster, and it's the same manufacturer, right, who I trust, from North Carolina. And so anything we can find local or source in the United States, of course, right, we're trying to do that. And anything we can do to help locals, right. I think that's one thing we learned during COVID is shop local, do local, be local as you can. Exactly. And I notice with my clients, if I say, oh yeah, this is made in North Carolina, they'll go, oh, I like that. Yeah. Whereas used to nobody ever cared. Like
now they do.
Yeah. But people seem to care a little bit more. That's a new trend, I think. Mm-hmm. Which, whatever. I just want to make people happy. I just want to get them what they need. We're still going to have imports. Right. I don't think there's
of course. Yeah. I love though that when you say, because you get to do the same thing that we get to do. Like when my client finally gets a house, and I get to call them up and go, hey, guess what? You get to go, hey, guess what? Your couch is in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay.
Yay.
So it's like, yay. Okay, moving on. So let's talk about services for what you do, because some people might ask, and I know you redo everything, but what type of jobs do you offer?
Well, we do soup to nuts. I'm a full line interior designer. That means I do remodels, we do AV, we do windows, we do new flooring, we do paint consultations, we paint, we do inside, outside. I do patio covers even. We do, window coverings, curtains, beds. I have a whole sleep system that I sell for people that changes the way you sleep with organic sheets and custom pillows that are based on how you sleep and your size. They're embroidered. I mean, we have solutions for anything for your home pretty much. I did hire an outside person to do my yard. So I'm not, I have a garden, but I'm not too, I don't want to go pick plants. That's outside. I won't do that.
Yeah.
But I can refer to
Yeah. Hey, I like the whole sleep better thing. Maybe that's something
girl,
to look into.
life changing, especially if you're over 50 and you're hot at night. And a lot of people sleep, guys especially, and then a lot of women over 50 or even younger than that sleep hot, and it really changes the way you sleep.
And that's important because everything with sleep, I mean, you got to have some, at least, I mean, we don't sleep a lot now, but you got to have some sleep or you can't function. I mean, that's for sure.
It's wonderful.
So I always want to ask this question because I know how it kind of has changed the real estate industry. HGTV. So to me, I love when
Wait, you froze up.
It's got my attention. And so that we're through, they signed the listing agreement. And I'm like, okay, let's talk. The fireplace. Oh yeah, we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
So did that really change a lot in your industry where people thought, oh yeah, I could just hire her. I can do that myself. That's easy. It'll look good.
There's always going to be the DIYers, and those aren't my clients.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I mean, if you can do it yourself and you enjoy that, more power to you. Good for you. There's always going to be people that try to do for sale by owner, and you just get in trouble. But people can really, really do their own stuff if they have time. That's just not my client. The person that uses me is somebody that knows they can't do it and they don't want to do it. They want help. Usually people that hire me are people that they have good taste and they can't usually figure out how to get it. Right. I mean, that's usually my client, and they want a specific look. They want, their things to be, showcased. Like the house, I just want to talk about this a minute, that I just finished, we were designing the shelves and he had a Buddha that was blessed and sent here, and it made center stage. And it was like, okay, nobody else is going to have this. It's going to make great for child. And it was beautiful. That's what makes your house your home, or your things that are personal to you. Sometimes I have to go, I can't make that work, but usually we can, but sometimes, you got to go, oh no, that's going to have to go in the closet on this. We can hang it in the closet, like I have something in my closets, by the way, that I can put out, but that are sentimental to me, Anyway, HGTV has done nothing but help my business. That's the bottom line, because people know that there are designers and they know that it can change the way things look. And so for me, I think that it's done nothing but help us as designers. It's given us credibility. What's not true is the budgets aren't true.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know why they're not true? Because it's like, okay, so say, I don't know, I don't watch HGTV anymore because it's like I'm continuing to work. The only time I watch it is if like I have friends that have a show like Tom and Carson when they had Get Around. Oh my God, they were hysterical. That was worth watching because they're funny and they did a good job. I mean, Tom Felicia is, a badass designer, straight up. So, I mean, and Carson's very, very talented too. So that was worth watching. And I'm not saying none of it's not worth, I think it's all worth watching.
Right.
But the budget part, they'll go, oh, this kitchen costs $20,000. Well, it did because they had stuff donated, right? Like the counters were donated, but they don't say that part. So I think that skews a little bit, but some of the shows lately have had pretty good budgets, I think.
I think they've learned. It's like buying a house. It's like when they show the realtors go show somebody 3 houses and they pick a house. I'm like, really?
Yeah. They looked like 30 before the show came on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now the market's crazy, but like a year ago before all this went crazy, I mean, people wanted to see 10 houses. They saw 10 houses. I mean, I wish you could say, hey, you got 3 houses, you're done. No, that way.
It'd make your life easier, right?
Oh, it would. Yeah. But I mean, now we'd be happy just to see 1 house without 80 people in front of you. But
yeah, I know.
So let's talk about the fun part. Okay, so the design itself. So, I'm definitely a big Pinterest person. I'm definitely a big Instagram person. I love to look at stuff that you do. I love to just look on, and it's amazing to me, some of the trends, some of the colors. What really shocked me was wallpaper. Wallpaper that is like not just, I mean, you had one picture that was the wallpaper was beautiful. It was so subtle, but I see some things where like jungle wallpaper. I mean, it looks good, it have green colors, and I'm like, wow. So I guess so let's talk about like the pretty and the trends. Like, what are you seeing right now?
Gold is back. It's a gold world. I had a couple clients that don't want anything gold in their house, and I'm like, it's just going to be hard. I mean, there's still some silver out there. Silver never really goes out of style.
Right. Right.
I don't do much bronze anymore. I really don't. There's gold, there's silver, and there's black. And then, it's a gold world. I hate to tell everybody. It's not like the old gold where
it's not the old gold I call like gutter gold. It doesn't look like
it's brushed
beautiful.
gold, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. So
it's really pretty, and it mixes with the old like bronze doorknobs or whatever. So, and my thing is I like to mix. I don't like everything to match.
Right.
I can't. Not everybody's like that, and that's fine. I'll do my best. But I think it's just more interesting if everything doesn't match, and that's just how I roll. But a lot of people want everything to be gold or everything to be silver, and we try to accomplish that. Wallpaper is back in a big way. Let me just say that wallpaper is expensive.
Really?
Because if you have to prep a wall, you got to pay somebody to prep the wall. Then you got to pay for the wallpaper, and then you have to hire somebody to install it. You can get the peel and stick from Target and make it look pretty cute, but when you peel it off, you're gonna have to put that wall. So there's more involved than just putting up wallpaper, and that's the thing I think people don't realize. But it changes the space. It gives it character. We don't do faux finish anymore. We've gone from the walls being a focal point and the cabinet paint being a focal point to no, we don't do that anymore. The things in your space should be what makes it feel homey and nice, So a wallpaper can really
warm it up.
It can bring you in color and character. It's really fun. There's custom wallpaper we can do. We also use a lot of curtains again, but I don't mean like swaggy. I don't do a lot of that. I do pretty much panels with the beautiful trim, beautiful hardware. Those are the things we're doing now. And the other big trend, which is life-changing for everybody, is performance fabrics. Because you can pour wine on that stuff and wipe it right off.
Good.
Smells from your pets, because we all let the dog on the couch. We do. And so that's a big change in technology that's been fabulous. The thing is, a lot of rugs they don't have to be expensive anymore. I'm not
right.
Expensive rugs are fabulous, but you can get a rug for that's made of polyester and polypropylene. That's beautiful, and you can keep it. Get it for $1,000 for a huge rug, and get a new one in 3 years if you want. And it changes the space. So, I'm not a proponent of throwing things away, because we're trying not to do that and waste anymore. But because of HGTV, I think people get bored and they're like, I want to change that up. Changing it with a new rug is really an easy way to do that.
I love the trend, the black. I'm seeing all these black with the gold. And I mean, sometimes I know your space has to be a pretty good size so you don't feel closed in, but I'm like, wow. I mean, it's beautiful. And just like the kitchens that have the bronze, like the appliances now that are not the silver and the black, like first it was the black stainless steel. Now you see all these like copper, like
white and the gold. That's
beautiful. Now, I never see those in regular stores. At least
that's the cafe series.
Okay.
That's the cafe series. So that's a really pretty, actually.
Yeah.
It just depends on your budget. It just depends on your budget.
I'm sure that's not cheap. I mean, I always look at Pinterest doesn't show prices. I mean, well, if you don't have to show a price, if you have to ask, then you really probably, it's not in your budget.
Everybody asks. It doesn't matter. That's the other. Everybody's got a budget. It doesn't matter how much money you make or how much money you have. Everybody has a budget.
Yeah. What do you see the most? Like if somebody comes in and they don't want the whole house, I mean, are kitchens still and master bathrooms, are those still like the biggest items that people want done, completely redone?
In secondary bathrooms, we do a lot of powder baths, and bathrooms are big. I mean,
Yeah.
because there's, if they fail and they start to leak, I mean, you got to get that fixed. And so that's one always. And then the other thing is toilets are a really big thing.
Yeah.
Comfort toilet, no baby toilets, needs to be the height of a chair. And then the whole bidet thing has just.
That's in a lot of houses. I have seen that a lot lately. Probably in the last year, I've probably seen like 3 or 4 of those. That's a lot. Normally, you never saw them at all.
No, they're a must-have for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. People are like, I want to put a bidet in. Can I put it in?
Itself, it lights up. It goes up for a guy. It goes up for a girl. I mean, they're amazing toilets. Okay, they light up in the night. I mean, they warm your butt. I mean, you name it.
Hey. Some people are particular. I had somebody that built a house, and I remember when we sat down, it was a Huntington home, and I'll never forget this. From the day one, we had gone in, and it was very important to her that the toilets went in last, and she wanted the higher toilets. They wanted a bidet. This is a long time ago, and as we got closer, she said, remember, please don't put those toilets in, please, because God forbid, there's, when someone's building a house, they put the porta potties and everything. I will never forget this. We were probably about 5 weeks out. My phone rings like 4 times in a row. And I was on a consult and I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to get this because I knew something was wrong. She walked in and I guess they had gone over to look at the house. She opens up the garage door and there was a powder bath right there. A guy sitting on the toilet reading the paper. So they ended up having to change all the toilets out. So because we talked about that first thing, but toilets are a big deal to people. They really are.
They really are.
I think.
And they should be.
Yeah. I mean,
but every detail is important. but every detail is important, and
it is. What
and
about flooring?
That matters.
What are you seeing like with flooring trends? Do you still see the hand scrape wood floors? Like, what are you seeing in terms of trends with floorings and tile? No,
definitely don't do a heavy scrape against the grain.
Okay,
we do it with the grain if we're going to scrape, or no scrape at all.
Okay.
And the floors are getting lighter. I'm not a proponent of really light floors. I don't think they wear well.
Right.
Dirty. If you walk into a dry bar, for instance, they have those nice light floors and they look like hell after a few years.
They're beat up. Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? It looks like hell. So I think, the other thing that I see is luxury vinyl tile. It's water. A lot of it that clicks together has a bottom layer that kind of helps with sound a little bit. It doesn't sound hollow. And it's good for families and pets. And people with cats, if they have a lot of cats, I've had 2 or 3 clients in the past month that have cats. And, you got to be able to clean it up,
Yep.
And these floors are great for that. And they're great for kids. They're great for a lot of things. So, especially with the wood shortage, it's not as expensive. There's shortages there too, but I don't know.
Not like the wood, the lumber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's good to have. So right now with the shortages, like you said, like you have a list, like some people are at the top of the list, some people can wait a little bit. So do you think right now, I mean, it's always obviously a good time to go ahead and redo a house, but you think now still, I mean, even if, as long as people are patient, right? If they want, so, and it depends on what the items that they want, to go ahead and start doing like major projects right now.
It is. Especially I think because the price of real estate has gone up. Yep. In Texas, if you've owned your home for a while, you're going to get that money back. You don't have to go, oh, well, I'm only going to live here 5 more years. Well, 5 years is a long damn time. Okay. I hear that a lot. I'm only going to be here 5 more years. Well, that's a long, think of what can happen in 5 years.
I want to live in pretty for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're even going to be there 2 years, I say do it. If you're planning on leaving, putting it on the market in 3 months, let's just pretty it up, get it ready for market. Don't do big remodel, but if you're going to be there even a couple of years, do it. Because if you've lived there a long time, it's just going to help you sell your house. If you like it, the next person's going to like it. People go, what about for resale? I'm like, I don't care about resale. If you like it,
somebody will like it.
The next person's going to like it. I promise. because I'm not going to do something stupid.
It's true. I mean, we walk into houses and you can tell again, people that did something themselves, which is fine. You can tell when someone's had someone come in and do it, especially if there's wallpaper, like pretty wallpaper, like everything, like from the light fixtures to the cabinets and, texture. And when you walk in, like I said, that house feels like it tells a story. And I mean, so there is a lot, but I'm noticing that people they are staying sometimes a little bit longer. But like I said, I mean, average sometimes 3 to 5 years. It's a long time to stay in the house. Sometimes 10. It amazes me. I'll go in on a listing appointment. Someone's been there 8 years and they haven't done anything to the house. Well, we didn't expect to stay this long, or we would have. Should we remodel now? I mean, now, like you said, you can get away with a lot right now that you couldn't get away with a year and a half ago. I mean, you can just walk in and it can be, it's a house and someone will buy it. That will eventually change though. I mean, this market will shift, and people will want, I mean, buyers will care. Buyers will care what it looks like. Buyers will care how much money, if wallpaper isn't done right, like you said, they're going to have to take it down. They're going to have to texture walls. So maybe the next year, I mean, that may matter. So I think it's always important. I mean, we've been flashing Kristi's information across the screen. So I mean, definitely if you want to consult, I would definitely reach out because like I said, she does almost everything, which is awesome, except no plants, right?
No plants. I don't want to do plants.
So what do you say? I want to ask, because people sometimes ask this question, if they're watching and they thought about interior design, they want to get into this, what's the best route? Like, what do you suggest? Where would they start?
Work for somebody for a few years to learn. And then there's all kinds of coaches for interior design. Like my friend Tracy Connell is a coach for interior designers. Hell, I'll coach you, call me. I mean, get the input of people that join an organization like IDS.
Right.
Interior Design Society, because you're going to get continuing education. You're going to get the help you need. It's a hard business. People think it's just so easy and, oh, it's so fun to shop. It's stressful because, you're not just out shopping. You're, and I don't shop at retail, by the way, because
right.
You're going to find I go to the source. So it's another relationship thing, where you have to have those relationships. So it's a hard business because there are a lot of emotions involved and you have a lot of irons in the fire all the time. And, you almost have to be a little crazy, I say that, but you have to be very organized and and you've got to hire good people. Like I have an office manager, Cheryl, and I don't know how I did it before I had her. Like I'm so blessed and lucky to have her, and all the contractors, they're good at what they do, So I would say find good people, get information, get help, with ASID or IDS. If you're a registered interior designer, you can be ASID, but get some help. And, that's my best. Don't just try to do it by yourself.
Right.
There's things in place now, there are people that'll help you. There's, ways to charge, and there's that way we're trying to be more consistent in the industry, like consistency in your industry.
Right.
6%. If you list a house, you're never going to pay 6% unless you go with somebody cheap and then you have crappy pictures and your house doesn't sell as fast. So just go with the 6% and get it over with. That's what I would say about real estate, right?
Yep.
Same with an interior designer. We're going to charge for our time, but we're going to take half the time it would take somebody else to do it because we know where to buy things, right?
And that matters. Yeah, that matters too. Big time. So where do you, in your opinion, like in the next year and a half to 2 years, where do you see like interior design and trends? What do you think? I always like to ask these questions.
Sure. For like color, let's talk about color. The color of the year for Benjamin Moore this year was a color called Aegean teal. And the color of the year for Benjamin Moore was the gray color. Oh my God, I just used it too. And it's a gray color, dark gray. So, things that you find in nature, things that you find outside. So if you look at my Instagram, there's a lot of blue.
Yes.
A lot of blue because people love it. It's not that I want to do a blue island every time. people request it.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that blue. It is. I noticed that. Yeah.
Have you noticed? But I
Yes.
just painted one yesterday that was the Aegean teal color because
Mhm.
it's still got that blue-green color, but it's not green. And people are, it's so weird about green. People seem to either love green or hate green.
Or hey, green. Yeah.
You know, but blue is not like that. Everybody likes blue at some level. Everybody does. It's what I've noticed as a designer, right?
There was a blue or a bathroom you did that had a wallpaper that had some color in it with the gold, with the mirror. That was beautiful.
That really wild wallpaper.
Yes.
Yes,
I like that.
I love that bathroom.
Was that like a powder bath?
It was a powder bath.
Oh,
We did the cabinet ourselves because we couldn't get one anywhere. And then
beautiful. Oh, I saw that and I was like, oh, I'm sharing that. I should take
wallpaper.
wallpaper. And I'm like, yep.
It was really wild. Yeah.
It's really great. Okay, I think we're back.
Okay,
Okay, technical difficulty. I don't even know where it went, but anyway. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, you gave some great information, and like I said, in just to know what's going on with trends, because some people don't know what colors are. Some people wonder, and some people might be wanting to redo their houses at this point, which is very important. So and I told people if they want to reach out, your information has been going across the screen, or they can reach out to me directly, and I can get them in contact with you. But thank you so much, and I hope to definitely do business together in the future.
Get together soon.
Yes, please. We don't look far from each other.
Okay, I know. Thanks
again. More talk soon.
One more thing.
Yes.
The color of the year for Sherwin-Williams was Urbane Bronze. Sorry, I forgot the name. Okay, now
definitely look at her Instagram. But believe me, it's beautiful. And like I said, nobody can do design in no color like Kristy. So definitely do yourself a favor. I'll find you the house. She can make it your own.
We'll make it pretty. There you go.
Because you got to live in the.
Thank you.
Bye.